Yo, what's up, guys? Everyone, today I'll be talking about Snowfall. Literally just finished watching Snowfall. It is 2:15 here on the East Coast, and we are here on this Monday morning to go ahead and talk about Snowfall. Like I mentioned, I just finished watching it. Now, when I first got into Snowfall, I'm usually a hype beast, I'll be honest. There's a lot of shows that I haven't watched, but I've heard things about. I never know about the plot or what's going to happen. I've just heard the name of the show, and that was exactly like Snowfall today. So, Snowfall was a show that I constantly heard people talk about. It was very hyped up. Not gonna lie, like the first season, the first couple episodes, I'm like, man, what are y'all yapping about? I mean, this is a cool show. But when they really get in their bag, this is officially now my top 10 favorite shows of all time. So, yeah, so from the top, I want to start off with the ending, and then I want to get into everything I have written down. But let's get into it. So, obviously, I'll start from the beginning a little bit, and then I'll work my way to the end. Obviously, this is a show about selling that thing, slanging that white powder, you know what I'm saying? AKA the rock. Now, this really always starts with Louis and Avi. Avi was the drug dealer, and Louis helped Franklin, her nephew, distribute. Is that technically her nephew? I mean, I don't know how all of this works. So it's Jerome's. So Jerome is his uncle, and that's his ended up being his wife. But besides the point. So they restarted all of this. So they made their fair share of money on that as well. But when I first got into it, we saw the clip of Alton. He doesn't have a relationship with Franklin, and then there's Sissy, the mother. Then there's Jerome and Louie, who Franklin spent a lot of time with. And Franklin, man, damn, at the end he was spiraling bad. I want to talk about the ending, and then we'll piece everything together. But I gotta talk about the ending. At the end, Franklin is spiraling out of control. In episode 9 of season 6, he loses $37 million. He was literally 10 seconds away from doing this, mind you. Another person I forgot to mention as well, Teddy, aka Theodore, aka I forgot what his other alias was, Teddy McDonald. I forgot what his other alias is. It's late, it's early, whatever. Give me some grace, man. Give me some grace. So he is distributing rock in Los Angeles, California, to fund a war. He works for the CIA. Then ends up working, with the DEA, and then somehow introduced to the KGB. Just a lot of different things. Mind you, he was working for the CIA, selling rock. And this isn't like some little stuff. This is like killing the people in California, in other countries, in other surrounding cities. Like, this is a very, very, very bad drug, and they're all capitalizing on it. There's like no good people in this show at all. Everybody is capitalizing on just selling rock and just benefiting on people just being addicted, and benefiting on people just being coked out and being out of their element, and ruining their lives. They turn into zombies. We see Melody and Wanda, their lives get taken over, especially Wanda, who was literally a crack fiend, was just all day all night, to the point where it's like, Leon, man, that moment was like, you gotta get out of there. I mean, she was the community slut, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. So with the ending, we see Franklin spiraling out of control. He just lost $37 million as his mother, Sissy, just popped Teddy right when he was on the phone about to make the transfer, because Teddy had Franklin's dad, Alton, because he knew that he was conspiring with selling that thing, and he was talking out against him. And they had took a plane, him and Sissy. They're like, no, we're good, don't come at us. And then they go there, and then one day out of nowhere, he's just alone. And then here goes Teddy McDonald, who, mind you, Teddy McDonald he literally has a whole ex-partner and a son that he just doesn't really check up on. But don't worry, he has Parissa, who he was with overseas, and they're doing their thing, but don't really ever see him check up on his son. But it is what it is at the end of the day. So he was literally funding all of that stuff. And then he gets by Sissy because he initially told her um that Alton was alive. Alton, mind you, is Franklin's dad and Sissy's technically ex-husband. I don't know. But that's besides the point. So they do all that, and then the only way she can really live with herself, she didn't want that blood money. She didn't want Franklin to have it apparently either, was to do what she deemed was the only correct thing to do, and that was to Teddy McDonald in broad daylight. And not like she fled the scene. She literally stayed there. She literally accepted it. She pled guilty. She did this and that. In episode 10, we see him spiraling, becoming an alcoholic. Leon tries to be a W man's and help him pay for the property tax and things like that. You know, he has Veronique, was his wife. Did they end up getting married? Maybe it was just a fiance. I don't know if they went all the way through with it. I know Jerome and Louis went all the way through with it, but on top of my head, I honestly don't recall. But yeah, he has her, and she feels that he's become money hungry and power hungry and not putting her and their kid, which is not born yet, above his business. And he was selling and thing and this and that, and then he gave all that up. But he still needed the money at the end of the day, as he got robbed for $74 million or maybe more from Teddy, who literally said, "No, that's my money. You wouldn't have any of this without me." Now they both got money hungry, and they're getting tied up, this, that, and the third, and then he ends up breaking out of it because Gustavo, my goat, is him. Shout out to El Oso. He's him. You feel what I'm saying? So we get to that part, and they did a little shootout with Kane, and yeah, really brings us to the point where Franklin is spiraling in episode 10. You know, the end. You know, Leon comes back from Ghana with his, I don't know if they're still together, by the way, Wanda and him, but they end up doing that, this, then the third. And then you see him really spiraling out of control, drinking uncontrollably. His house is a mess. He's not paying for the house. I don't know how he's still there. And you can see at the end, it was also in the last episode, we saw Louis, who was hiding in the stables. The DEA, Tony, was looking for, but W workers, detective, they were like, no, we didn't see her. And Tony had mentioned that she was using his fake alias. They still didn't budge. I don't know. I'm 99% sure that they knew that she was there. They were just holding her off, because why would she just be able to just comfortably just be there and not constantly just be like, are they watching me? Are they watching me? Are they watching me? Like, I don't think she has that in her. But Louis is also a demon, so who really knows at the end of the day? But yeah, the ending, it was brutal, you know. It's tough. Franklin, that's a bad look. You know, you lost Veronique, lost the money. Only person really has his life is Leon, and he just literally came back. Apparently he doesn't talk to Sissy, his mother. Alton, his dad, is dead. Louis and him don't have a relationship, like, at the end of the day. And at the end, he's asking Leon for money. They go to the gas station, or not the gas station, a corner store, and he's just drinking alcohol. It's like, he became an alcoholic with no money, no family, nothing going for himself, all because he was being selfish, you know. He could have given up. He could have given all that up, you know. And at the end of the day, you know who won? Veronique's mother. She had warned Veronique about him, and she didn't want to listen. And at the end, she saw him for what he was, which was a power-hungry, maniacal menace to society. And at the end of the day, he probably got what he deserved, but he was the main character. I really root for like 99% of the main characters. I really hate how he went out. He has literally nothing going for himself. But yeah, also, what happened to Lucia? I'll get into that as well, but what happened to her? I saw some spiraling things about her. I'm not gonna just blurt that out. I don't know if that's accurate or inaccurate. I don't want to put a blemish on anybody's name or anything like that, but man, I hate how Franklin went out. Really good series though, like I mentioned. Overall, I gave it an 8.8 out of 10. My agendas though, man. Sissy. I feel bad for Gustavo, aka El Oso, even though you can see him at the end. He's training kids to box, which is really cool. And then he gets the call from Jamina. I forgot if I butchered that name incorrectly or not, but they're in North Carolina with the kids and they want to meet up. So shout out to Gustavo. But Lucia and Jimana, like, man, My boy Gustavo, man, you gotta get back on those. You feel what I'm saying? I hate how he went out, but he might have a W sometime soon. But that's the ending. Yeah. So start from the top. Man, Gustavo. No, it was him, Pedro, and Lucia at first, and he got close, really close with Lucia, and then them having their thug. This is what I'm talking about, like just going crazy. You feel what I'm saying? And then Lucia, this whole Soledad thing with a couple months later, all of the blue, Pedro's just engaged to Soledad. And mind you, this whole time she was an undercover cop. And she ended up getting popped, I believe. I can't remember off the top of my head. Who was it by? It probably was Lucia, if I remember correctly. It was definitely somebody in their circle. But yeah, she was an undercover agent, and she was really role playing as Pedro's wife, which is very, very odd. And she was doing this in a Hispanic voice now, but she's probably fluent in both languages, but when she's talking to the DEA, she's talking in English, and it's really perfect. And when she talks to them, it's like with this thick Hispanic accent to the point where it's like, damn, you really might be the devil for making this thing go off. But yeah. And then another thing I had down as well, Sissy is such a polarizing character, you know. She's really happy at points, and then at points she's down. At points she's disowning Franklin. Then she's buying property with his money. And then she's killing Teddy McDonald. And then she's in prison. And then she's like, no, let Teddy go. And then she's like, what do you mean you're letting Teddy go? Like, she is so fucking bipolar. And I vividly remember her as well in The Wire as Dee's mom. I forgot to mention. I remember the actor for Lucia. She was dating Jesse in Breaking Bad. I remember that she went to the AA meetings, and she had a kid as well. I vividly remember that, and I believe he would give her money as well. So I remember that. You know, I know ball. You know, I'm a hype beast. You thought I was gonna watch Breaking Bad and The Wire? Come on, baby. What they talking about? All right. Like I mentioned earlier, Avi and Louie really started all of this. You know, Avi was the plug to Franklin, who needed money, and Louie helped him distribute money to the club, which was one of her estranged partners, who she ends up popping in like her bathtub or her room or the bathroom or something. Just insane. And somehow she got off with that. The amount of people that got away with so many things is genuinely absurd. You feel what I'm saying? Another thing I did feel bad for was Jerome dying late in season 6. You know, Jerome, I mean, he had his ups and downs. A hot take: if anybody were to die between Louie and Jerome, I would much rather it be Louie. I don't care. At the end of the day, it's just like Jerome's family, but he was a Hall of Fame crash out. He had something going behind the scenes with Franklin, because Franklin asked him for money and Louie, and they were like, no. That's after Teddy stole his money. Then he robbed him and shot multiple of his people, and then Jerome had popped. No, not popped. He beat one of the people that were distributing alongside Franklin. Literally beat her to death in front of Buckley, who's another one of these cops that are under Louie's payroll. So he's not really a real cop. Then he ends up losing that, but he ends up still having connections and things like that. So I feel bad for Jerome, but I really feel bad for Louie overall. You know, she lost her husband. She literally just got married, and I believe it was him that was just like, I think I'm gonna step back from this game. And then not too long ago, he ends up just dying, unfortunately. You know, Kane had shot him to death. You know, they had set Louie up at the stables to go get her because she had put out a hit on him, and so bad to the point that he was looking like he was gonna be paralyzed, not able to walk. So Franklin ends up setting all that up. Setting all that up, but Kane ends up setting all that up, and then he calls Franklin. Franklin was checking up on him in the hospital. I don't know that it was Louie who did it, so you can kind of blame Franklin for the death of Jerome as well, and they were beefing overall. So yeah, Franklin is not a good person at all, but he's the main character, so it is what it is at the end of the day. And then Sissy killing Teddy in broad daylight, I mean, that was just genuinely absurd. I feel like the ending was cool, you know. I hate how Franklin went out, but is it what he deserved? Probably, you know. He's just a menace to society. He's not a good person at all. He ends up, the last time we see him, just in the street drinking alcohol out of a brown paper bag, just teeth orange. It doesn't look high. He doesn't look like he has good hygiene whatsoever. He's cooked, man. That brother is cooked. Like, he went out bad. And by the way, fuck Peaches. Left him a $12,000. He stole $5 million from him, and ended up just being a rock fiend. So that's tough. He ended up dipping one of these days, and then Top, which was like the basically CIA or detective, ended up helping him find people. He ended up trying to look for Veronique. Didn't end up finding her, but he ended up finding Peaches. And Peaches tried to put a fast one on Franklin, but Franklin was like, "Papa," he was cooked. That was a couple things I written down. I really hate how Victoria went out. You know, I feel like she was really helping to find who it was that killed somebody that was very, very close. In the beginning, we see the coke, and we see Teddy, we see this and that, and they're at a party. And we're just seeing somebody else as well. Alejandro ends up dying as well. I believe Teddy just popped him in a bathroom. Like, brother, that's a bad look. You feel what I'm saying? I'm really still at a loss for words how he got popped in the bathroom. Like, Teddy, you are a menace to society, brother. And then Teddy is so insane. He's doing all of this while he's working for the CIA and slinging that dang to fund the war. And he's going overseas, and he's meeting people like Parissa, who ends up falling in love with and literally proposing to and literally dying like the day after, which was just so insane. By the way, as well, what was her name? Claudia? It wasn't really solely that. It was Claudia, right? So Pedro Pack and Claudia Pack. K, I believe it was. Let me look up quickly. Claudia Snowfall. Actually, no, that actually wasn't her. Claudia was the estranged partner to Louis. So yeah, Claudia Pack, you terrorist. Also, I mentioned this earlier as well. Is it just me, or is Leon from Snowfall really resembled to Benjamin Flores Jr. in what's it called? In Game Shaker. I'm gonna show this my screen real quick. So this is Isaiah John, Leon Simmons in Game Shakers, and this right here is Benjamin Flores Jr., who is Triple J in Game Shakers. Leon in Snowfall, Benjamin Flores, Game Shakers. I don't know if I said that incorrectly or not, but yeah. Hey, is it just me or not? I mean, Benjamin Flores is 22 and Leon Simmons is how old? Isaiah John is 29, so 7 years older, but still. I feel like they're really like doppelgangers, in my humble opinion, at the very least. But yeah. Damn. I was really rooting as well for Franklin and Melody ends up just being a crack fiend and a rock fiend and smoking it once and becoming addicted to it to the point where she's literally in the rock house. She was tweaking off that rock, but Franklin ended up saving her life, and at the end we see them reconcile a little bit, and she looked like she's teaching, and this is a whole new state of mind, really. But Franklin's also insane as well because her dad, Andre, is a police officer, and he's literally on Franklin's tail. They literally live like not even like a 30-second walk away from each other. They can literally just walk right there. So Andre know he's slinging. Andre know he's involved in this, and he ends up popping Andre as well, which is like, damn son, where'd you find this? Now let me stop. All right, and then Leon, he ends up getting popped a little bit. He was cooked for a while for killing Khadijah. Not Khadijah, but yeah, I think it was Khadijah's, which is Simone in All American. It was Khadijah's child, which was literally a little girl. And that was the one that really sucked, to be honest. I'm doing to find out what her name. What was Khadijah's daughter's name? Oh, Tiana. Oh my God, that broke my heart, to be honest. You know, they were just. Hey, it was wrong place, wrong time. They were in the back, you know, everybody was getting popped, and Khadijah ends up making it out, but she ends up getting popped fairly short after. But I really hate how Tiana went out. I mean, that just sucked, to be quite frank. He was cooked for so long, and then ended up reconciling with Scully. Scully got to be the ultimate, like, Scully. How do you do it, brother? And ends up being cool with the family as well. Like, I don't know how you do it at all. But you're him, brother. He lives with his girl Khadijah and his daughter, which is really young. So that's very, very unfortunate for him. And then Nyx, who's supposed to be Andre's best friend, ends up covering the murder because he's getting paid by Franklin. Like, you're just such a weirdo. Like, Franklin got off so lucky. Melody, she was a D. I'm not gonna lie, Melody was fine as hell. Shout out to her, whoever the hell Melody was. I'm gonna shout you out at the end of this video, but you heard my baby. But yeah, Franklin got off so lucky. I also don't know what to think about Tanase. I mean, she ends up being quote unquote a snitch, but I don't know at the end of the day. Fall for Khadijah though, the Scully Manboy. I mean, Scully and Manboy and Khadijah. I mean, so Khadijah and Manboy are siblings, but Scully and Manboy are feuding against each other. So it's like, damn. But so it's like Smoke, unless it's involved with the kids. So he ends up checking up on the kids and stuff like that. I had me so confused. I'm like, damn, y'all really related. That's crazy. Fatback is a real one, but he was too damn gullible. Manboy and his crew went out so bad. Irene went out terrible as well. And Alton knew he had that coming when he went to Cuba, whatever it was. Like, come on, man. You were on multiple radio shows talking about that. It was bound to happen, brother. It was bound to happen. Also, Thad Pack. Not gonna lie, we only saw it for a little bit, but shout out to Jesse. She kind of moves the needle. Wanda might have had the most insane job just talking about getting people up, down there, yeah, and trying to talk to them on like a sex hotline. Like, no, you weren't getting paid enough for that, Wanda, you fiend. And it wasn't, because he literally mentioned how the pay wasn't good. So, ugh. If I remember that down bad, Lord, take me now. All right, let me stop trolling. All right, I can't believe how Rob went out to him. Another crack fiend getting popped by Franklin. He just couldn't trust him. Random jump to Veronique in like a random season. I'm like, who the hell is this? Veronique, and she's just all up on Franklin. I mean, at the end of the day, y'all got it, man. At the end of the day, y'all got it. Yeah. Gustavo would again, I don't know how to say her name. Sapita, Shamina. It's something with an X. So shout out to her. Mello went out terrible. Shout out to Scully. Making a song out of everything that went down on the projects. Like, that dude's insane. I don't know how he got off. Like, that is just genuinely, like, just wild. Sissy coming back, though, from Cuba was beautiful, even though she was without Alton. Leon is in love with the project still, even after having all this money. Something about Louis and Jerome, which you end up finding out. They end up also becoming money and power hungry as well. Didn't want to listen to Franklin. Sissy really was playing with fire. Parissa, I'm not gonna lie, she was a needle. She got to be the freakiest doctor of all time, just being all up on Teddy and stitching him multiple times. And she is a freak. Fine as hell, shawty, but you a freak. You feel what I'm saying? The tiger got it, though. They were randomly going to people's houses, and all of a sudden it's one guy, and he has a tiger in his backyard. Like, okay, buddy. Pitches, you got to rot in hell for Robin, Franklin. Good for Jerome and Louis, though. The LSD was wild at the party. Good for Jerome and Louis that they end up getting married. Fortunately, Jerome didn't make it too long. But yeah, Louis is really insane for going through with that Kane shit still. So Kane put out a hit on multiple people in the same family, missing, and then Louis, big-headed, still wanted to go after him and getting Buckley to do that as well. So that was tough. Leon and Wanda ended up reconciling again and ended up getting married and going to Ghana and living their best life and then coming back. And then she ended up going, and then he ended up going a couple months or years. I mean, they had a random two-year jump and then a random 1 year jump right after that. So a lot of things went on. Yeah. And then Franklin had to eventually retire. Louis and Jerome were about to be cooked. Ruben is a menace to society, works for the KGB. But he also was part of the LGBTQIA+. By the way, shout out to the LGBTQIA+ community. It is officially Pride Month. Yesterday was the first day. Today is officially June 2nd. Shout out to y'all. Not my personal thing, but shout out to y'all. I ain't a straight man, but hey, At the end of the day, y'all do you, and I'ma do me. Simple. At the end of the day, you feel what I'm saying? But yeah, this Buckley shit gotta be stopped. Fuck Louis. I really wish it was her that went out instead of Jerome. And I hate how Avi went out by Ruben, you fucking menace. By the way, do we end up finding out what happened to Ruben? Did he just end up just giving him over to the CIA, the Meyer guy that was working with Teddy? What happened to Ruben in Snowfall? Like, he just ended up just like dropping him off there. Ruben is a KGB agent. There's an encounter. Ruben is killed by Gustavo. Oh, Ruben intercepts DEA. Come on, nervous and start roasting him. I don't know, because Ruben ends up killing Avi, so fuck him. I don't know, to be honest. But he ends up joining the last season. I don't honestly recall. Franklin turned Ruben over to Stephen Havemeyer in the CIA Institute of Immunity, who was left to an unknown, horrifying fate. Probably getting beat to death, potentially, or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, Demon Franklin with the bags. I mean, you got it, big bro. And then Tisha, seeing her dad being a little kid, just being in a body bag. I mean, that broke me, man. That sucked. And it was her grandfather who was the mailman. Like, oh man, that shit kills me, man. Sissy was in her bag. Dallas was being freaked out over Franklin, and then her other partner ends up dying literally like the same day, if not the day after. It was fine, you know, they were just both freaked out, but especially Dallas. Jerome got her out in hell. Franklin and Gustavo being informants really got it. Leon, by the way, he owns Dion. Veronique leaving Franklin and moving to overseas. She got it. I can't believe she did it. And GG's to Ruben, whatever the hell happened to him. You're in a pack. Because fuck you. Because Avi was literally one of the best characters. And you just packed him up. Because you couldn't trust him, whatever the hell he said. But yeah. Overall, I give Snowfall an 8.8 out of 10. Very good show. So let's get into the characters now. So shout out to Damson Idris, who's actually from, I believe, the UK, as Franklin Saint. Carter Hudson, who played Teddy McDonald. Shout out to bro. Louis was played by Angela Lewis. Isaiah John was played by Leon. Leon was played by Isaiah John. Jerome Saint was played by Amin Joseph. Lucia was played by Emily Rios. Buckley was played by Brandon J. McLaren. Marissa was played by Tiffany Lonsdale. Melody was played by Rain Edwards. Fine as hell. Avi was played by Alan Butts Bull. Pedro was played by Felipe Valley Costa. Matt, which was Teddy's brother, was played by Jonathan Tucker. Claudia was played by Judith Scott. Veronique was played by Devin A. Tyler. Gustavo was played by Sergio Perez Menchetta. Kane was played by Devon Nixon. Kind of reminds me of another character. Maybe from Prison Break? I don't know. Sissy was played by Michael Hyatt. Anybody else want to shout out? Andre was played by Marcus Henderson. Lorena was played by Adriana Di Girolami, who was Soledad as well. Scully, underrated character, was played by DeAndre Bonds. Dion was played by Quincy Chad. Irene was played by Susie Nakamura. Jamar was played by Joey Marie Urbina. I also want to shout out Alejandro was played by Gene Javier Cardenas. Ra was played by Taylor Kowalski. Peaches aka Dejan was played by D. Ray Davis. Stephen Havemeyer was played by Matthew Allen. Tony Marino was played by Scott Subiono. Ray was played by Marquise. Remember, they had their thing with Franklin as well, and him and his other guy, and one of them getting packed up. Ruben was played by Alejandro Ada. Dallas was played by Taylor Polidor. Gail Bean was played by Wanda. Wanda was played by Gail Bean. And Tanase was played by Adriana Mitchell. So shout out to all the actors and actresses out there for doing your thing. Officially one of my top 10 favorite shows of all time. So shout out to y'all. But other than that, yo, that is the video. So go down below, drop a like, comment down below, sub up. Make sure to follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok, as well as my Instagram and Playback, which will always be in the description box down below, as well as all of my YouTube channel. But like I said, it's been your boy John. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Thoughts on Snowfall? Comment down below. And I'm out, man. Peace.